Hello friends, I'm Kostub and today we'll be discussing Economic Survey 2021, Volume 1, Chapter 3. This is a chapter that is titled Does India's Sovereign Credit Rating Reflect its Fundamentals? In this chapter, the Chief Economic Advisor clearly says that it does not. Before moving ahead, let me remind you to press that red button, subscribe. Now, let us discuss what Sovereign Credit Rating is. It is an assessment of country's credit worthiness. This means it's like a forward assessment of a nation's ability to meet its financial obligations in time and in full. So, it decides whether a country can repay the loan it has taken. Now, what is the debate all about? Recently, India was rated as the lowest rung of the investment grade, that is written as BBB minus or Baa3. In these terms, technical terms, this means that the rating agencies are cautious. Right? They think that investors should be cautious while investing into India or giving loans to India because the ability of India in long term to pay this loan back may not be very positive. The rating agencies say in their reports that the government of India has high electoral support despite being in crisis, so it can bring in reforms. But it is worried about one thing: the conservative stance that the budget has taken in expenditure. Why it is believed that Indian government has taken a conservative stand? The reason is, we are in a crisis, and if you follow John Maynard Keynes, we need to go for counter-cyclical fiscal policy. We have discussed this in the past sessions. So when you say counter-cyclical fiscal policy, government was supposed to spend more in this trying crisis times. But then, in this budget, if you observe, there are certain heads which are worrisome, right? Expenditure on health, expenditure on education, PM Kisan, the income support to farmers, maybe take the funding for Manrega or even social security. So overall, it has been seen that government has not been very generous in terms of expenditure. We agree that in the past year, there were a series of mini budgets also, which led to government spending a lot. But overall, budget, the recent budget, can be termed as conservative. And this conservativeness is interpreted by the sovereign credit ratings as weakness in the fundamentals of India, especially the fiscal deficit and the ability of the state to repay in future. So this is the reason why the ratings for India has gone to the lowest rung of investment grade. Now, who gives this rating? These ratings are given by the big three. There are many other companies, but these are the big three: Fitch, Standard & Poor's, and Moody's. Now, the ratings are divided into three groups, or these rating agencies divide countries into three categories: positive rating, stable rating, and negative rating. So India has gone into negative outlook rating. Right? So what this negative outlook is based upon? There are multiple parameters. You can pause the video and take a careful look at them. There are multiple. They are from economics, politics, and so on. So control of corruption, rule of law, inflation, GDP growth, investor protection, and so on. In case of India, there are three things that matter the most while the sovereign ratings rate us. First is the rate of economic growth. Second is bankruptcy or the weakness in the financials of the government. Not exact bankruptcy per se, but weakness in the financial system of the country. And lastly, as you can see, any trouble on the external front, military, aggression, political instability, these can also be the reasons because of which the rating may go down. Now, if a country gets negative ratings, the way India has got now, what does it translate into? What does it mean? It means that if the government decides to borrow from outside, it will have problem. It will not get the amount of money that it wants, or the rate of borrowing will be very high. So you have to pay a larger interest rate. Investors into the economy will be jittery because it is the way you go out and you see reviews on TripAdvisor. It is like that. So any external agency or investor who wants to invest into India would look at these ratings. So investors into the economy may be discouraged. Now, it is not just that the government borrows from outside. There are many financial institutions, companies, these also borrow individually, the external commercial borrowings. So cost of borrowing for financial institutions and companies will go up. And lastly, sentiments turn negative. So when India is rated negative, you see the Sensex falls, right? So overall business sentiment in the country turns negative as a result of impact of this negative ratings. But then what are the strengths of India? Why does the survey say that India, this rating by these big three was unsolicited? That is what survey says, that it was not necessary for them to give us rating. So friends, let us see what are the strengths of India. First, zero sovereign default history. We have not defaulted on any loan that we have taken from outside. We have very comfortable forex reserves, one of the largest of the world, which allows us to pay for our bills. Extremely low foreign currency dominated debt. So of all the public debt of India, very less exposure is to the loans that we have taken from outside. And this is something that is like over a long period of time. So when we don't depend on external sources of money, why these rating agencies are rating us? That's the point that survey tries to make. And then overall, the survey paints a picture that macroeconomic indicators of India seem to be in a good shape. Now, survey also makes an interesting point. It says that these three, the big three, are biased against emerging economies. So there is subjectivity in these ratings. Second, there is a bias against emerging giants. So not only India, even China gets this treatment. So whenever we grow, our growth rates are high, our countries are very in a nice shape, and investors throughout the world are eager to pour money into India and China, our ratings go down. Also, pro-cyclical ratings by agencies. This is a very interesting point. That survey says that we spoke about counter-cyclical fiscal policy. Now this is exactly opposite. It's pro-cyclical. So whenever a country is doing good, at that time the credit rating agencies with a lag, they increase the ratings. And when there seems to be pressure on, say, growth rate, GDP growth rate, then the ratings go down. So they somehow, wherever bubble is being formed, they allow that bubble to expand. So and when there is a little deceleration in growth, they worsen it by their pro-cyclical ratings. So this is controversial. Majorly, what they look for in the context of India are GDP growth rate, the fiscal deficit, and the consumer price inflation. So these are the three most important parameters in the context of India that are seen by these rating agencies. And then the survey concludes by saying that no significant impact on India. Indian fundamentals are good. India is an outlier with respect to all the parameters used by these agencies, and that is why we don't have to worry. Though there may be short-term impacts on, say, Sensex and here and there, but over medium and long term, we don't have to worry much. Now there is one point that I want to make. Friends, when we look at budget or even economic survey, we get a feeling that government is optimistic about the future. And it says that India is going to grow at a rate of, say, double digit. The point is, this optimism has to be taken with caution. The reason is, we are on the verge of second wave. We don't know how it's going to pan out in the coming months. So overall, we cannot assume that we are in a post-COVID world, right? The COVID and the pandemic, the crisis, the problems are not yet over. 2021 may well bring new challenges in front of our economy. So in that context, we have to see these ratings. Today, our finances are stretched, fiscal deficit is high, government requires to spend to bring up lives as well as livelihoods, to save both of them. In this context, we may need to borrow from outside also. So we have to be careful about the fundamentals of economy while balancing lives and livelihoods. This is all from my side today. I'll be coming up with next chapter very soon. Thank you.